Hello, and thank you for joining me for a very special edition of Cooking with Cod3Theory. Memorial Day is 2 days away, so I have here a nice, almost 3-pound Tomahawk Steak that I'm going to showcase what to do with at home. I found a great deal on this steak. It was like 30 bucks, so I'm going to zoom in on this. What you want to do is you want to get a plate, nice big plate, with your steak on it. It's okay if the bone hangs off a little bit like shown. And you're gonna get your favorite seasonings, a little bit of your favorite oil, and some paper towels. And I'm gonna pat this down, get all the excess juice off it, flip it over, and do the same thing. This just helps the seasonings get in there. Get all that off there and throw that out. So we're gonna start with some salt. We're gonna do this is a 24-hour dry rub. So I'm starting now, and then by tomorrow evening I will be able to prepare and cook this. Some nice thick kosher salt specifically. Do a nice layer. And I have actual whole peppercorns, which I would recommend just for the roasting process, because it's gonna have to go in the oven after a grill, much like the prime rib. And then of course your traditional steak seasoning. Nice little layer of that. I like to use paprika. Paprika is obviously optional. I like to use a light layer because it adds some flavor. I do this with my prime rib. Many people do it with ribs in general already. Garlic salt. I do a real light layer of garlic salt. If you don't want to use as much salt, obviously go with garlic powder. And then some parsley. Could also use oregano. Okay. I'm gonna rub that in. Oh, nice. Try to get the sides as well. I'm gonna flip this over and do the same thing for the other side. And it's really important you want to get these sidewalls. It's going to help with your roast. Back to my steak seasoning. Light layer of paprika, again optional. My peppercorns, just going to add a few more on there. And I will put more peppercorns in the actual roasting pan when we go to roast this in the oven. Garlic salt, nice light layer of garlic salt, and then parsley to finish it off. If you've seen my steak video, you've seen me do this method. I'm not poking the holes all the way through the meat. I'm just kind of getting some of this excess seasoning in the center of the meat. And I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing, a little more oil on top. Stop. Alright, so we have my 24-hour dry rub Tomahawk Steak, 2.72 ounces, so almost 3 pounds. So in order to cook this, I'm going to do 2 things. I have a grill pan, high heat. I have an oven on at 275, so I'm going to sear the sides of this, kind of like I do with the prime rib, if you've seen that video. And then I'm going to pop it in the oven for probably an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So come over here. try to get that extra seasoning, excess seasoning off. So searing on high heat, 4 to 5 minutes each side, and then we're going to go in the oven for an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours with some tin foil on top. I'll remove the tin foil 20 minutes before it's complete. Alright, so we're going to flip this. Obviously I'm using an oven mitt. Yeah, nice sear on that side. That's what you're looking for. If you wanted to do the crisscross, I would flip it again the opposite direction. So good sear on that. Like I said, high heat. All I did was grease the pan, no additional oils or butters for this. And then once I sear the rest of that, I'm going to add just some traditional red cooking wine. There are a few more peppercorns in there, a little bit of butter just to kind of help keep it flavorful. Flip again. And you'll see, so if I want these sear marks to go on a crisscross, I'm just going to turn it in the opposite direction for a minute. Crisscross grill marks are something fancy restaurants do. It just looks really cool, which I'll show you in a minute. That's really the only purpose of it, but you can tell we're pretty seared on both sides. I'm probably going to sear this a little bit, or this a little bit, by just holding it on the grill. See, now I kind of have some crisscross. Now I'm just going to let this set here, kind of trapping in the juices on all sides. So see how I'm holding it here. Obviously you want to use an oven mitt. This bone, I'm sure it's heated up. It's probably at least 80, 90 degrees. Let's check that. So nice little sear. Finish searing. Now I'm going to turn this off because it's ready to go in the oven. And what we're going to do is we're going to very carefully add some white wine, or red wine, sorry. And it is going to smoke up a little bit. So a few more, I'm going to add a few more black peppercorns to this kind of water mixture I'm making. I'm going to get some butter. I'm going to add butter, probably 2 tablespoons. You can tell my red wine is all seared up, so I'm just going to add a touch more. You just want maybe a 1/4 inch of liquid. Yeah, about a 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to tin foil this. And I'm going to cover as much of it as I can. Very carefully, because obviously it's still really hot. So I'm just going to do to the best of my ability. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is just kind of try to seal it all in. You don't want to lose all this juiciness of the meat in the oven. And then I'm ready to pop it in there. So now this is going to cook for up to 2 hours. And again at 275. Alright, so this is it. This is my almost 3-pound steak here, and it's freaking delicious. I hope you try this recipe. I'll show you here. It almost falls off the bone. It's a nice medium, but I can just pull this apart with just a fork. It's pretty impressive. So at home, try this recipe out. Thank you for watching. You can check me out on SoundCloud, Instagram, Facebook. That's Cod3Theory, Cod3Theory. I'll catch you next time.